All right, so today's lesson, working at word problems, and today we're going to focus on rate and ratio problems as well as general formula problems. And this is under the module ratio and proportion and formula problems. All right, so firstly, we're looking at rate and ratio problems. So a rates problem is where we can compare two similar distances, object heights, volumes, etc. And it can be solved by using a ratio equation. So let's look at our first example here. Last year, Marcel scored an average of 1.7 points per game for the St. Paul Canadiens. If he played a total of 40 games, how many points did he get? All right, so we set this up like a ratio. There's a couple different ways you can set up the ratio here. So one method that's shown in your modules is if you have 1.75 points for one game, right? How many points? So X, we don't know what that is if there were 40 games. Okay, and then all you do is cross multiplication. So if you remember cross multiplication, 1.75, you multiply it at the two diagonal. So you'd multiply 1.75 times 40, and then you would divide by the 1 to solve for x. All right, so x is equal to 1.75 times 40, and it's being divided by 1, and then that just gives me x is equal to 70. All right, and because this is a word problem, you always end with a sentence. How many points did he get? So we would say he would get 70 points. Another way you could have set this up, your ratio, is if you did this 1.75 points per game, so for one game, and it's equal to X amount of points for 40 games. This is just another way you can set it up. Similar method, you're still going to do cross multiplication. So you take the two numbers that are diagonal to each other and you're going to multiply those. So we have 1.75 times 40, and then we're just dividing by 1, and then x is still equal to 70. Okay, and then you'd end with your sentence. He got 70 points. Next example, a 24-meter high apartment building casts a shadow 85 meters long. How tall is an apartment building that casts a shadow 294 meters long? Sorry, I got this wrong here. I'll change that. But the question is actually 84 meters. Okay, this is question number 2 in the module. All right, so we'll just change that to 84 meters. All right, so now we're going to set up our ratio. Okay, so what I'm going to do is set it up like this way. So we have our building, and then we have the shadow. All right, so it's a 24-meter building, and it gives a shadow that is 84 meters long. So I've set it up this way. This side is the building, this is the shadow. Okay, next, how tall is an apartment building? So that's X, when the shadow is 294 meters long. All right, so we've set up our ratio, and now we're just going to solve, again, cross multiplication. So we're going to go 24 times 294. And it's going to be divided by 84. All right, so just put that into your calculators. and you should get an answer of 84 meters. Right, and remember you're multiplying first and then dividing. All right, and lastly is the sentence. The apartment building is 84 meters tall. I'm just going to shorten that and say it is 84 meters tall. Right, so coffee is sold at 4 kilograms for $9.88. How much would 25 kilograms of coffee cost? All right, so we'll set up our ratio. So 4 kilograms costs $9.88. 25 kilograms is what we're trying to solve for. So just put X, or you can just even put like a box. So that's the one we're trying to figure out. Okay, so we're going to multiply the $9.88 times 25, and then we're going to divide that by 4. Okay, and just put that into your calculators, and you should get 61.75. All right, so how much would 25 kilograms of coffee cost? I'm just going to say it would cost $61.75. So next example, a truck traveled 1,024 kilometers and used 144 liters of gasoline. How far would you expect this truck to travel on 8 liters of gasoline? Right, so let's set up a ratio. So 1,024 kilometers, and it took 144 liters. Okay, how far would you expect this truck to travel? So X kilometers, if it was 8 liters. All right, so this is what we don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out. So to solve, cross multiply 1,024 times 8. And then we're going to divide by 144. And it is 56.8 repeating kilometers. All right, and we can round that. It depends on the question. Sometimes the question will tell you to round to the nearest whole number, or round to the nearest tenth. So let's just round to the nearest whole number. And we can just say it would travel 57 kilometers. That's just rounded up. So our next example is the ratio of the length of a rectangle to its width is 8 to 5. Okay, so just showing here the 8 here represents length, the 5 here represents width. Next, if the length of the rectangle is 124 meters, what is the width of this rectangle? All right, so 8 to 5 ratio can be represented as a fraction like that. All right, so again, L here for the length, and then this is the W here for the width. So we are given the length is 124 meters. And then we are solving for the width. All right, so multiplying 5 times 124, and then we will divide by 8, and that gives us 77.5 meters. Just going to double check that. Yeah. All right, what is the width of the rectangle? The width is 77.5 meters.